Hey everybody, it's Aggie. I'm going to paint a wintry fox with you today. This is the tracer. There's two different options. I am going to do this one right here. I've actually already traced it onto a 5x7 canvas panel. And I'm trying to remember, I think I used my ground that I've mentioned on a previous live with Shelly. Did you know that the Golden Paint Company, they make I wonder if I have it. Where do I have it? Let me grab it. They make an absorbent ground. And that's what I used on here on this panel. I think I painted it white first with just some white house paint, and then I put this acrylic ground on there. So it's got a gritty texture to it, which is kind of cool. So that'll, it'll be good for the watercolor paint. So yeah, I'm going to be painting watercolor on a wooden panel. You don't have to always do it necessarily on watercolor paper. So I have spritzed my watercolors. I'm going to open up this set. I've been dying to open this up. I wanted to do it on camera with you guys. I love Neptune brushes, and I ordered this on Amazon. So, oops, I'm a little blurry there. Whoa. I'm going to get up, put my camera in my canvas stand pointing down so you can see everything I'm doing. And we're going to get going on this. Yay! Here we go. So, make sure we have it straight. Hopefully we're going to be in focus. Oh, it doesn't want to focus, does it? Come on now, focus. Focus, camera. All right, so let me get this stuff out of the way. Oops. I better leave my mouse over here just in case. You know, my mouse for my setup for my computer. Okay, so this is in a bag for some reason. I don't know, somebody stuck it in a bag when they shipped it. Yeah, so it's a really nice set of 3, and I don't remember what it was, but you can go check it out on Amazon. So it includes this number 8 round, which of course you always want to get that stuff off of there. Don't be too harsh with this. Be gentle with it, getting it off. Wet it first, and then, swish it around real good to get that. I don't know if it's sugar water or what it is. It's probably not really sugar water. So this really nice flat, which has this scribing end that you can use. A 1-inch flat, which is great to wet to your substrate, to wet your paper. That's cute little flat brush. And this is the one I really love. So this is a quill brush. Lay these down over here. And this holds a lot of water, but comes to a really nice point. So it's a favorite of mine. And when you start using one of these, you're going to love it too. So same thing, I'm going to dip that in the water. Now, you never want to leave watercolor brushes soaking in the water like you can do with acrylic paint. But look at how it's kind of weird stuff on there. Get rid of this in my trash can. Get all that off of there. Okay, there's a part of it that doesn't really want to come off. So I'm going to kind of use my thumbnail. there we go. So you can see I traced my design on here. So holds a ton of water and comes to a really fine point. Look at that. What a fine point you get with that. So I really do love this. I'm going to dump this water out because it has all that stuff in it. Okay, so you might want to have a little swatch piece of paper nearby to kind of do some preliminary color mixing. Because we're going to do a fox. And let me just get a sheet of copy paper right here. Just the cheapest paper. And I just want to test out, I mean, I don't even remember these color names that I've got on here. But so I'm going to use this number 8 round that I got in that set. And I believe this is burnt sienna. So let's put some of that on there, see what that looks like. That's probably a great fox color, right? The other color I want to try out is making like a creamy, making it a little bit lighter and creamier, maybe a mixture of yellow with the burnt sienna. See if that shows up as a little bit different. Yes, it does. Okay, and also I want to go a little bit darker. So I don't remember, I think this is sepia down here. That would probably work really nice. I don't remember what this is, but that's really nice too. I could go get my little color chart diagram wherever that is, but I'm a little too lazy to go get it. So yeah, actually, I really like the sepia. So, I mean, we don't even really have to do a whole lot of color mixing. I do want to have like a background behind this fox, and I'm going to kind of outline him later on. And maybe have a little bit of winteriness. This might be something that I add glass and resin to later. Sipping some lemon iced tea. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Maybe I'll start with a really detailed brush and do his little eyes. So this is a Utrecht Sablet size 2, just a nice small. And I think I'll just use, this super dark brown and kind of get some of that laid down on there. I could probably just add in a highlight with a white paint pen later on. And this is a little bit of a, illustration style. I'm not necessarily going to try and paint a realistic fox here. I think this is my black? Here's my black. So it's always like the top of the eye of whatever it is you're doing that is going to be the darkest. Outline that a little bit. It's so cool how you can see these little, like, people post fox videos on videos of foxes on, on YouTube or TikTok. They are such interesting little creatures, aren't they? They're almost like cats, but with a lot more personality. Although cats have a lot of personality, but you know what I mean. They're more, I don't know, they're very happy and expressive and all this stuff. So it's a black nose. Let's get that in there. And I'm going to add a little bit of water to this to make it a little bit lighter of a gray. And I just want to put the like outline of the mouth down here, or the chin rather, sorry. And if it leaves a little puddle, you can lift that up by just going over it again, so you don't have one puddle spot. Okay, yeah, I like how this ground works. It like kind of seems to spread the pigment a little bit, but I don't mind that. All right, so let's see. Let's go back to the bigger brush, and you want to do your light areas first. So I'm going to use this kind of creamy-ish color over here on the chest. And with a brush that I kind of just emptied out, I kind of filled in where the white is going to be, the white of his chest. So the rest of this would get just a little bit darker as we go. So I'm creating this shape right here. It's a little bit lighter right there. And now I'm ready to go into my little bit more burnt sienna, I think. So it's a watery burnt sienna. I want it to kind of blend. So this is his foot down here, his rear foot, his belly, his front arm, back arm. Here's his back. So I'm doing all that as one shape. So it helps to have little shapes defined, areas defined like that, so that you've got a place to end off, to stop your brush strokes, so to speak. So this can be a little bit darker over here. And I'm using a thicker paint now. Less water mixed in there is going to give me that darker color. And I'm going to let it, spread and do its thing. That's totally fine. So it's a little bit darker over here. Again, much thicker paint. Thicker over here. And then we can kind of create a little bit of the shadowing. And the front paws, the front legs are going to get really dark as we get to the bottom. So I'm going to grab my sepia, really thick, and just put this paw in here. And it's going to blend up into the leg. So you can't do this when it's too wet, because it'll spread into the part you don't want it to. And then I'm trying to remember what the tip of their tail looks like. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water to my sepia now. Just a slightly more watery mix. And maybe drop that in here just to get that a little darker. Good. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for the head, but I need to see what a fox's tail looks like. So I'm going to hop on over to Unsplash super quick. Hopefully I can find a photo. I wonder if I can soften this just a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's hold on. I'm going to open up another tab and go to Unsplash and just type in a red fox. Yeah, okay, so, oh, the tip of the tail is not necessarily darker per se. I wasn't sure. Yeah, no, in fact, it might even just be kind of lighter on the end. It seems dark on the underside. So that's interesting. Oh, I'm finding one picture. Oh, that's on iStock, so I can't share it. Yeah, it almost looks like it's so two-toned that it looks like the rest of their fur, but it looks dark in between the tufts of fur, if that makes sense. So, okay, I'm just going to treat it like the rest of his fur, the tail. So, okay, let's, so that's nice. I mean, I've got the middle area first to start drying, and I would suggest you paint it in this order too, because we're gonna work on the face, and when that's wet and needs to dry, we can go to the tail. So, okay, I guess I did that without even really thinking, but I'm glad I did. Okay, so this area here is going to be the lightest, where I kind of put that little line. So I'm going to go around that area, and we need it dark enough to show that the cheeks are lighter. So don't be afraid to do that. You got to create enough of a value on some things so that it shows, that your light areas actually do show. Inside the ear is also going to be a little bit lighter. Dab off my brush to make it not have as much pigment in it, and kind of put a hint of dimension around the outside of this cheek. Now my pencil line is still showing, but I'm hoping to layer in, more color on there, and hopefully it won't really show too much. But if it does, I don't think it's really going to be the end of the world. Okay, I don't really need this anymore, do I? Okay, so now that is going in there pretty good. I want to maybe I'll use this thin brush again to kind of outline the ears with that sepia tone. So, oops. That's okay if that happens. I'll just get rid of that. Okay, so, oh, and I am going to paint the background. So, yeah, I need to do that later, but okay. Let's see, what was I going to do? Let's You know, while that is still kind of wet, it's probably the perfect time to start going into a slightly darker value. So let's use our watery burnt sienna. And I want it a little darker up here. Around here. What's with that weird bubble? So I'm darkening the whole area really. Let's use this to get that started. Yeah, he needed that. He needed that tone. And what we're going to do now is wait for just the right moment to add just a little bit more, to add a thicker, so that the top of his head has a separate plane. This could be darker on this side too, that's kind of turning away from us. Up here is a little bit darker. And there. Definitely right here. We need a concentration of color, and that's really starting to look a lot better. And I really do think I'm going to hide that pencil line. So I went back and used even thicker burnt sienna. So it's just right now. It's the perfect time. Okay, good. So now I also want to get my sepia. And make the ears more of a sepia brown. That's going to make the rest of the fox look nice and red, because they are really red. I love it when I have seen, a fox in person. I don't know, I love seeing them. I think they're beautiful. Can get darker on this too. So, the other thing too now is we can let our paint strokes show. Can be a little more intentional. With our wispy, brushy marks. I mean, they're probably still going to move a little bit, but that's okay. Let's get this nice deep brown in here. And just kind of reinforcing that outline. And again, it's such a nice small tip that it's just not hard to do, So I'm just picking out a few spots here and there to darken a little bit more. Maybe I'll make that nose really nice and dark now. Because if that nose is really nice and dark, it's going to make the cheeks seem whiter, which we want. And sometimes it can be really hard to get really nice darks with watercolor. So, sometimes I will go back in with a marker. Outline the eyes a little bit more. Okay, I think I even want to make his paws really dark. Oops, a lot of paint in my brush. Okay, so that's getting a little bit darker down there. Cleaned out my brush, come back in and just kind of soften some of these strokes. I'm kind of picking up paint and displacing it, I guess. Okay, maybe I've got like a sepia grayish tone here. I think I just want to put, little strokes of his fur here. Kind of make all of this look a little more shadowy. Yeah, I think that's helping. And I think I could have this a little bit redder, but I need that to dry. All right, so let's do the same thing to the tail. Start with our light tone. Wait a few moments. It's super shiny right now. And I'm going to try and just put some little bit of form on there. So with a thicker burnt sienna, I mean, it's still spreading. And I'm coming back in even thicker now. See if it'll work with me. Drier brush, come back in and help that blend a little bit. I think I lifted off a little too much. Okay, I think now I want to try and put some tone on the background. So I just want a nice, pretty, like maybe like a phthalo blue, a bright blue green. Is this it? Maybe not too bright, but that's going to complement the red. And probably for an area that size, this is perfect for using your quill brush. So let's grab my quill brush. And I'm probably going to wind up turning this as I paint around. So, okay. I'll make sure I have enough. I might not. So it's all about leaving that little bit of outline on there. I'm concentrating on the inside edge of this puddle. And I have to bring it up this way so that it'll all, flow into this. I'm tilting my board a little bit too. Now we're going to come this way. It's like you're really just managing this puddle the whole time. Bring this outline around. Got like a fuzzy stuck in there. Which I'm going to need to get out. Don't be afraid of this drip puddle because we're going to bring it down. And over here, I might get it a little bit darker. Oh, that's a lot darker. You might be able to come back in here and still, add a little bit more stuff. Maybe we'll shift to a slightly different color. Here's a I don't know, more of a grayish color blue. Sorry, I don't have the names of these on me at the moment. Oops. Now I want to bring this down here. I am going to have some foliage down here. So I'll try to make it look like some foliage down there. Let me go back to the lighter color. I think that works. Oops, just filled in that area. I didn't want to do that, but oh well. Okay, so I mean, having that background in there makes a big difference. Helps bring that fox forward. I like the outline, what that did. Okay, so we'll let that rest for a little bit. And I guess because it's on wood, it's doing this linear streaky thing, but I don't know that I mind that a whole lot, to tell you the truth. Okay. Wonder if I can lift some of this off of here with just a clean, wet brush. Like refine this shape a little bit. It is working. It is lifting. Some colors lift better than others. Some colors are more staining, is what it's referred to. And you can look up staining charts. I don't get into being that complicated with it, to tell you the truth. But you could get real technical with all of this if you wanted to, you know. Maybe I should not have messed with that quite so much. And you could always come back in with gouache too. That's another thing you could do. All right, I think I want the eye to come down a little bit lower here. So let's fix that. Okay. And I don't know, I might even really push the red. I might even add a little more red. How crazy is that? Probably a little crazy. So here is some orange and red that I am gonna kind of push the envelope, push that into my burnt sienna color. Let's see what happens. Oh, because that was wet, I got a little bit of a streaky line right there. But anyway, let's see what happens if we make him just a little bit redder. Yeah, I like that. And you can kind of maintain those lighter areas that you put in at first by doing brush strokes. Which we're definitely going to need to do something like that along with the tail. So I'm almost experimenting on his body. Yeah, I like the red. I like what that did. Sometimes you just don't even know that you needed something until you push the envelope and try it. And there is a lot of layering that goes on with watercolor, really. So this is where we start, putting in those brush strokes and leaving some of those thin little areas in there. Lighter areas, I'm sorry. Leave the thin light areas in there. Lots of fun little brush strokes. And check that you don't have your brush overloaded, because then your brush strokes start getting a little fatter than you might really want. And I'm just thinking about the direction of how this fur would go. And there, now he's looking nice and fluffy. So maybe inside the ear. Well, I'm going to continue with this color. This is working nice. I'm going to continue putting it in on his chest. And this is describing that shape of the chest. It's a little bit of a curved situation. All right, and then I think I need to do the insides of the ears with a little bit of a muted color. So I'm going to use the sepia with the red. And a little bit of water, maybe a lot of water. I don't want it to be a dark color really, but just kind of like almost a gray. Yeah. Yeah, that knocked that back. So then now his cheeks stand out a little bit more. We could even put just a bit of this gray on the underside of his mouth and cheek area to create some shadow there. Now I'm just trying to soften it. Very subtle. I didn't like that weird line that was happening right there. Okay, so for the tail, let's do the detail strokes on that. I think I'm going to use a bigger brush. Let's see what happens. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm going to go for it. So just doing some directional strokes. All right, and now I'm going to use my finer brush and use the sepia. I might regret that I didn't wait for it to be a little drier. I think it's looking okay. The sepia really makes a big difference. Really gives it that shadow feel. And then a little bit thicker of a mixture to really get some dark areas. I think it serves my purpose to make the tip of his tail darker. And it's okay. Sometimes we have to use our artistic license. Because it really is about the tail with a fox, isn't it? Okay, so now I think I'm ready for some wintry greenery. So for that, I'm going to use some nice sap green, I think I got over here. Got a couple different greens. And I'm going to brown them up so that that'll just really harmonize. And we can kind of come in here and just create some greenery. Maybe there will be some berries involved. Have some berries right there. Then, of course, we want some of the greenery to have some of the colors that we've used before. So I'm going to grab, I don't remember which yellow it was. I think it was this yellow. And add that to some of this for some more yellowy tones. And let's plan out where our berries would be. So the berries are going to be a cooler red. So I'm going to make a red here with some sepia. Just amazing how berries just really, red berries and greenery just really make it so pretty so quickly. So yeah, this is a pre-recorded, I should have said that earlier, that this is a pre-recorded piece because, God willing, we are down in Florida right now as you are watching this. All right, let's see. Maybe I'll go this way with it. And I think that looks pretty good. So I think what I would add back in, okay, these lines right there are a little bit harsh. So I'm going to add a little bit more of a glaze back in there. And see how that just kind of pushed that back. Softened all that up. All right, so there you go. We're right at about an hour. And I really think that all it needs is, I guess this looks a little bit sharp back here. Let's just throw some greens on top of that. That works. And again, if I add glass and resin to this, that'll all be nicely subdued back there. Maybe just a little bit of gray. And a little blue. A little bit of like a gray tone back in here. And, you know, when you do get a nice gray mixed, you can also, you know, go back in and add a little bit of shadow side or outline to some of these berries. But he definitely needs a highlight in his eye. That is bothering me. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to just use some gesso. Unless I have a white paint pen. I don't think my white paint pen is going to be opaque enough. So I'm just going to use a stylus and a tiny bit of gesso. And I just open up the lid to my container. Oh, there is no paint in there. So, oops. Looks like I got to dip into here. Hopefully it's wet. No, it was starting to dry in my lid. Okay, let me dispense a little bit of gesso. There we go. Tiny bit of gesso on a plate. Sometimes the paint bottles just don't cooperate. Yeah, that's exactly what we needed there. And I could even, I'm not going to use my watercolor brushes with gesso. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to grab an acrylic brush. Well, let me grab one. And just paint his snout a little bit, and then we're going to be done. So I hope you liked this. And I hope you will join Shelly and I. We're going to be doing a lot more fun. Christmas and wintry animals. And you are invited to join us Tuesday nights at 6 Central. The tracer I didn't talk about. This tracer is at thepaintersjourney.com if you'd like to go grab it. When we first put them out, they are free on the website. I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing them as freebies. We might change that up a little bit, but unless, of course, you're a member. I'm going to put some little sparkle in the sky. So yeah, we're still figuring that whole thing out, but we have a painting membership. We also teach glass and resin, and we are open for new members. We have over 230 lessons in our membership. It's $47 a month. If you do the monthly, you can cancel any time. And the annual, you get 2 months free for $470 a year. So we would love to have you join us for that. So anyway, that is it, my wintry fox. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. See you next time. Bye. Oh, get my mouse to work.